section 7-1, 0 as an exponent and negative exponents. So whenever you have a number that has 0 as an exponent, so remember exponents are the little tiny numbers up kind of in the corner. Anytime that number is a 0, the answer is always going to be 1. It doesn't matter how big the first number is or how small it is, it's always going to be 1. So if you look at standards check B, you have negative 7 to the 0 power. It's just going to equal 1. So we also are covering negative exponents. So for example, let's look at standards check 1A. We have 3 to the negative 4th. So this exponent does not mean that the answer is going to be negative. What it means is that we're going to flip this number over. So remember that every whole number, if you want to turn it into a fraction, it's over 1. So if we want to make this exponent positive, we are going to flip this so it becomes 1 over 3 to the 4th. So remember, 3 to the 4th is not the same as 3 times 4. What this little number tells you is how many times you're multiplying the big number by itself. So you have 1 over 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times itself 4 times. So that equals 1 over 81. And this is your answer for standards check 1A. So now that we've gone over a couple of examples, let's go over 7-1 practice. We're going to be doing the odds. So let's take a look. So number 1 is 23 to the 0 power. So remember, every time you have a 0 over here, the answer is always going to be 1. So this is your answer for number 1. Number 3 is 3 to the negative 3rd power. So remember, every time we have a whole number, just 3, it's over 1. So we're going to flip this over to make this positive. So we have 1 over 3 to the 3rd. And this number tells us how many times we're multiplying the big number by itself. So we have 1 over 3 times 3 times 3. And that is 27. So our final answer is 1 over 27. Number 5, we have 7 to the 0 power. And remember, every time there's a 0 here, the answer is just 1. That's it. Just 1. Okay, number 7, we have 6 to the negative 2 power over 6 to the 0 power. So this is already a fraction, so we just want to flip this over and make the exponents positive. So we have 6 to the 0 power over 6 squared. So remember, every time we have something to the 0 power, it's just 1. And this 6 squared means we have 6 times 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. So our answer is 1 over 36. Number 9, we have 9 to the negative 1 power. So remember, this number is over an invisible 1. And we're going to flip this over. So we have 1 over 9 to the 1st. So it's 9 times itself 1 time. So that's just 1 over 9. And this is your answer. Number 11. So we have x to the negative 3rd power, and it says evaluate each expression for x equals negative 2. So we're going to put in negative 2 here for x to the negative 3rd power. So this is over 1, so we are going to have 1 over negative 2 to the 3rd power. So what this means is we have 1 over negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. So we have 1 over negative 8. And this is our answer for number 11. Now we have number 13. We have 4x, whoops, there's no parentheses. So 4x to the negative 3rd. So this is a little tricky. because this negative third only applies to the x because that's the only thing it's touching. So what that means is when we have x over 1, this is the only thing we're flipping over. So the 4 stays where it is. So the 4 stays on top, and the x to the third goes to the bottom because there's no negative exponent next to the 4. So when we evaluate for x equals negative 2, what we're going to have is 4 over negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, and that is 4 over negative 8. And we can simplify this. We can divide top and bottom by 4. So we have negative 1/2, and this is our answer for number 13. So number 15, we have 3x to the negative 2 power. So what that means is since this whole thing is being put to the negative 2 power, we are flipping the whole thing. So we have 1 over 3x to the negative 2. And we want to plug in x equals negative 2 for x over here. So what we're going to have is 1 over 3 times negative 2 squared. I forgot that this becomes positive. Okay, so we have 1 over negative 6 squared, so that's 1 over negative 6 times negative 6, and that is 1 over 36. So this is our answer for number 15. For number 17, it says to simplify each expression. So whenever it says simplify an expression and we're talking about negative exponents, what it's saying is make this positive. How do we turn this negative exponent into a positive exponent? So this negative exponent is only touching this y. That means the y goes to the bottom, but the x stays where it is because it does not have a negative exponent attached to it. So our answer is going to have x on the top, and on the bottom, y to the 5th. So this negative becomes positive once it goes to the bottom. And this is your final answer for number 17. So number 19 is 1 over x to the negative 3rd power. So in this situation, the negative 3 is on the bottom, but we still want to do the same thing. We're still going to flip it. So we are going to have x to the positive 3rd over 1. And anything that is being divided by 1 is just 1. So our answer is just x to the 3rd. And this is number 19. For number 21, we have 5 over d to the negative 7. So this gets kind of tricky as well because as you can see, this 5 over here does not have an exponent at all, but this d to the negative 7 does. So what this means is whatever's on the bottom, whatever has a negative exponent, we move to the top, but the 5 stays where it is. So we have 5d to the 7th over 1, and everything that's over 1 is just itself. So we have 5d to the 7th. And that is our answer for number 21. Okay, number 23. Okay, write each number as a power of 10 using negative exponents. So whenever you have, let's see, we have 1 million. So whenever you have a big number like this, just ones and zeros, what you can change it to is 10 to a certain power, and the way you figure out what the exponent is you count the number of zeros. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our exponent is 6. So what this is 1 over 10 to the 6th. But they want us to write it using negative exponents. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it, and we have 10 to the negative 6th power. And this is our answer. And I believe we have 2 more. So write each expression as a decimal. So this is 25. We have 10 to the negative 3rd power. So what happens is we have 1, we have 10, and we are going to move the decimal place 3 times starting from the 1. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3. So 0.001 is our answer, or 0.001. Okay, 27, we have 9 times 10 to the negative 1 power. So 10 to the negative 1 power is just 1, and we move the decimal once, so it's 0.1. So we have 9 times 0.1, and that is 0.9. So this is our answer for number 27, and that is it for section 7-1.